It looks like we're pretty much ready to go with this next run. So hold on to your seats, buckle up your pants if you have them, or maybe pull up your skirt. I don't know. Like, get ready because this run is going to be exciting. Let's go right into Neopets, the Darkest Faerie with Deesh. Take it away.
Well, you heard correctly, ladies and gentlemen. This is Neopets, the Darkest Faerie, all bosses. So I am shaking in my boots right now. I cannot describe how excited I am to show off this run right now. This is an awesome PS2 action-adventure kind of open-world game developed loosely based on Neopets website lore. So yeah, if we're ready on the timer, then I can get going right away.
That is funny that it's based off the actual lore. I didn't even know there was lore until I got introduced to these games from you. And
actually, I think they actually changed some little bits of website lore to be more accurate to this game, which is also funny.
All right, I'm excited. Let's get things going.
All right, so yeah, if I can, am I good to go on the timer then?
Yeah, you should be ready to go.
All right,
let us give a countdown for us.
Sounds good. So I can go in 3, 2, 1, begin.
All right.
All right, we're starting right off the bat. We get right into the gameplay pretty much. Skip all of the FMV cutscenes, skip our sister's annoying text, and get right into the BS. We run up onto this hill over here and just jump straight out of bounds. More BS in this run than a game of Steeler football. So yeah, out of bounds. Pretty big theme of this run. There's going to be a lot of load zone manipulation. Given that this is like an open world style game and they try to keep all the loading, pretty much seamless. So there are a couple different types of loading zones or loading triggers that we go through. The first type, we're actually going to see both types in this out of bounds here. The first is a collision-based load, and then the other is more of a kind of boxy location area-based load. The first one, we basically run onto something, and then stuff loads around us. And then with the other type, we just kind of run into an area and stuff, it'll look like things randomly load around us, but it is all very meticulous. So you run up into this little out-of-bounds alcove here, peek in bounds briefly to get this little potion, and then come back out. So a lot of these out-of-bounds sections look like a lot of weird nothingness, but they're actually all very simple if you know how the game works. So there we go. Get all of this to spawn around us, and now we just kind of keep running with our double speed. So the Miracle Speed potions last about 65 seconds, not including cutscene times and loading and stuff. So the gist of this first 10 minutes or so of the run is we want to get to the big city, Meridel, and set up everything that we need to get all of our supplies for the duration of the run, pretty much. So to do that, we are going to get this flower to set up a side quest, which lets us do a money glitch, and then just kind of leave at this point. So this area, not even supposed to be remotely close to it at 3 minutes in the run, but obviously we are. So when we go into Meridel, the way that the money glitch works, as there's quite a lot to explain there, is basically there are certain corresponding text boxes, which, because of a small programming error, actually will give us money based on the last time we collected it. it's really weird. So we're gonna see it first off when I turn in that little flower to the correct NPC. And then I'm gonna talk to someone briefly and just seemingly randomly get a bunch of free money. So another thing that I'm doing right now, this is a pretty good place to talk about this, is when I open the on-the-fly consumable items menu, I'm holding down the square button as well. And as long as I'm holding down the square button from now when that happens, we rapidly skip through any text that comes up on screen automatically. So come through this cutscene, and it's faster than even a task would be able to mash. So we don't actually have access to any of the shops until we go through this cutscene, so we have to go through this annoying little bit of main quest. I know, can you believe it? We're not actually doing 100% out of bounds runs. Now, I actually have kind of a hybridized route going here. There are a lot of different ways that we can set up the money glitch. I'm actually going to use 2 of them during this part of the run. So, chase this guy down, skip the cutscene, and then I'm going to come into the potion shop, turn in the quest, and then buy another speed potion. So I am only going to do 1 duplication of money. So we got 500 coins there, or Neo points, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk to this this Drake over here, Guardsman Ulfric, and get another 500. Which lets me buy the Squire Sword. And then, now I'm going to go to the arena in the northern part of Meridel. So jump into the water and it automatically spawns us right up here. And I'm going to do 2 arena fights, and that's going to set up the other text glitch. So fairly straightforward. We do a basic 3-hit combo to get rid of these guys. Got a minute, I think. If there's anything you need to go over, then feel free.
Certainly, I will take a look at these. I think you're doing fantastic. You've already been breaking the game immensely, and we've only just begun. I don't have anything at the moment, but I would like to say that you are watching No Holidays Allowed, a No Glitches Allowed event supporting the Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center.
So actually another little thing that I can go over here. So when I do this fight, I'm going to be able to do my combos a little bit quicker because I'm interrupting the animation of the final hit with pulling up the shield. So it's not super important to improving your times, but it is a very neat micro-optimization, which actually leads to a neat combat effect coming in on the first boss. So from the first 2 arena fights, we get the shield, and then we get 500 Neo points. And what happens when we get the 500 Neo points? We want to make sure not to talk to anybody until after we're done with this next bit of text glitch. So come to this sign, and there we go. So this lets us duplicate the money astronomically fast. We would actually do this for about 3 minutes straight in 100%, but we're going to do it for a little bit less time than that here. We don't quite need that many potions of fastness.
I like the idea of calling them potions of fastness.
Yeah, it's a very easy to understand name.
Certainly. Go fast, that's all you need to know.
Yep. So the rest of this run, or a good detail to note actually about this run is all bosses, but it's not all boss fights. So in this game, there are 2 particular boss enemies that actually appear twice each in the game. And we only fight each variation of, or we only fight one variation of each of those bosses. So we have now our sword, our shield. We're going to come into the potion shop, and we're going to buy 8 potions of power. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to go with 39 Mirka Speed potions. Pretty safe number, although you can buy, you know, more. You can get away with a few less. And now, our first boss that we're going to look to fight is the Ixie Chieftain. The Ixie Chieftain boss fight is probably the most important for the run because he gives us an item called the Cloak of Heroes, which is, well, you'll see. I'll put it at that. We definitely want to have that item. So as I come through this way, now, an important thing to note about this fight coming up, as I do a frame perfect but easily bufferable jump into the water so that I can just kind of walk on it. So this out of bounds right here is actually quite a big barrier of entry for a lot of runners. There's a particular emphasis on, you know, all the different kinds of load zone manipulation going on here. So once again, hitting a location trigger, and then we're going to come all the way around this and hit some collision triggers. So we are actually fighting the late game version of the Ixie Chieftain fight. So there's one... If you know the story in this game, basically, in Act 1, at the end of Act 1, we discover that basically pretty much the entire world has been taken over by dark purple clouds. And, yeah, everywhere has become evil and possessed, and there's all kinds of enemies, and it's all dangerous, and it's scary. And normally we would come fight this guy. Let me make a quick safety save, why not? We would come fight this guy in Act 1 in a completely different place, but for some reason this area just exists anyway. It doesn't require like a state change to get to, you know, the proper story part of the game or anything. It's just here. So basically just running through this whole area to fight him. And what I was talking about earlier with the shield canceling, letting us do a neat battle mechanic, or trick, I guess. It's kind of a glitchy thing, I suppose. As we very careful here, because this lava will just die you. If I do my inputs just right on this boss, I can actually get a weird 4th hit in the middle of combos. There we go. That was pretty much a perfect fight. It was very weird, but yeah, I couldn't have asked for that to go much better.
That looked really clean.
It was, in fact, very clean. So another thing to note about this run is I'm actually I'm doing this run on emulator. Console would be about 5 to 10 minutes slower. The entirety of that is loading times. So most of the loads that we're doing in this run are actually somewhat easier on console than they would be on emulator. But it's not like a huge barrier for difficulty in most places. And it also doesn't really change the route a whole ton. There's just some small variations that we would do. So, these two little glowing stars on the ground here. This game has an elemental alignment system with most of its enemies. It's not important since we don't really fight many like normal enemies in this run. But for the bosses, an important thing to note is that none of them actually have any elemental alignments. They're all neutral. So what we have is the two rainbow-aligned motes, which are strong and weak, Supernova and Nova motes, respectively. And we're going to fight as many bosses as we can with the Supernova and Nova motes. So we have now the Cloak of Heroes. It was that little, very neatly folded clothing item that the mayor gave us just then. And we're going to see it in use right away. So you're not supposed to be able to attack with the cloak on. So if you try to attack, it just automatically unequips it like that. And then for whatever reason, I'm unfortunately not too well versed on the super deep physical details of the game's programming and why that happens, but if we jump and then buffer in the middle of when the screen turns white from that, we can actually do a second jump afterwards. And with in conjunction with low gravity, which is another thing that I probably should explain, it lets us jump way over the invisible wall that we hadn't cleared there yet. And just kind of get towards Meridel quicker with a couple water warps. Now what we have is what is colloquially called a Mirka speed clip, but I like to call them sprint clips because not all of them actually require Mirka speed. So with the low gravity, what happens is when we jump, our gravity value is actually set to 0.3 or 0.35 in some cases. I'm not entirely sure what the details of it are, but it's not really important. So jump on an invisible ledge there, and if you grab onto a ledge in midair, it keeps that low gravity value until you jump again, and it resets. So we do kind of a half mega jump to get further out of bounds there, and then into this area. And then when we stand under collision that the game thinks we should be on top of, it just teleports us right on top of it, and then we run this way. And then the next boss we have coming up right here is Narfis. We have to come to this area to load his trigger, and then we have yet another... Don't you do it. Okay, he was nice. Another cloak glitch coming up here. If we have low gravity and we're a certain distance away from a ledge, and then do our attack, or excuse me, do a kind of jump forward towards it, it gets us to fly straight up in the air. Oof. So this is Narfis. Oh, I wasn't supposed to do that. Oh, we're fine. There we go, he's dead. So Narfis is annoying, but he actually wasn't that bad to me this time. If you stab attack him just right, you get to pretty much disintegrate his health. I got a little bit of it right there, but I had to let him get me to the second phase and just kind of do normal 3-hit combos. So, more text glitch. And now, another strange thing about cloak glitches is that certain things, which include that cutscene after beating Narfis, actually take away our ability to do cloak glitches. And what gives them back is picking up an item for the first time. So, we pick up the striped neg from the grass, which is basically just an eggplant type thing. And now we're looking to get into Meridell Castle. But we haven't actually gone through any of the quest line to open up the front door. So what we're going to do is a specific sequence of out-of-bounds things to get into the courtyard of Meridell Castle, and then we can go from there. So wait for a moment here for everything to spawn. And then this is one place actually where emulator and console differ. There's a faster version of this out of bounds that console can do because of how long it takes to load in Meridell Village. But emulator load times are so fast that you literally physically cannot make it in time to outrun the load. So you have to come all the way over here, and then I'm looking to line up the right side of those cliffs back there with the bottom of this middle pillar, and then as soon as the water plane there disappears, I'm going to equip the cloak and unequip it. So that just helps to prevent a black screen and not being able to see. And we jump here, do another very normal ledge fly, just straight into the wall. And now we're going to fall onto a cutscene trigger, which starts the escape sequence where we see the 3 Dark Faerie sisters attacking us. They're invincible, we can't do anything, so we just have to run away. And we do a ledge fly on that little steps, on that little footstool, come down into this hallway, and we've escaped. And now we are into Act 2. So, this is Roberta. We started off the game as Tor, and he was obviously the melee swordplay guy. This is our spellcaster witch character, and she's pretty overpowered. But what happens now in Act 2? Act 2 is very vanilla because all of the inventories are split. So I'm gonna try a little micro optimization here, or it's a small time save. If I speed clip through this fence and then jump just right, I land right up here. And basically at this point, this is just a tutorial section for her. Unfortunately, Act 2 is not nearly as fleshed out as Act 1, so it's kind of rushed. We're building a makeshift wand for her, and then going through the tutorial to learn how to use it. So yeah, like I said, the inventories are split here. So we don't have any of Tor's money. We don't have weapons. We don't have his items. We just have our own items and an allowance of just over 1,000 Neopoints. So with 1,000 Neopoints, we can afford 2 Mirka Speed potions. And as such, we have to ration them. So come out of this cutscene, and both of them are conveniently in our way. And just continue going through everything normally. We don't even have the cloak. Actually, an interesting fact is if you save, there's no use in safety saving during Act 2. I mean, unless you're on emulator and you can use a save state, but I think for the purpose of a leaderboard run, that would technically not be allowed. If you save and then reload the file in Act 2, when you get to Act 3, you don't actually have the cloak. So yeah, we can't do any of that stuff with Roberta. So I'm just gonna keep holding square this whole time through this this wand tutorial to keep up with the text glitch, and I'm actually using R2 instead of circle, which is the alternate attack button. It does the same thing, it's just another button that you can use to do attacks.
That looked really janky.
Yeah.
When you're doing all that.
Yeah, we kind of try to keep that guy off screen, although I don't really know if it matters that much. But yeah, I think this game has a little bit of like a camera-based loading system. So at this point, we're now just very vanilla speeding through the rest of Act 2.
How many potato sacks have we seen throughout the run so far?
A lot. I don't even think I can count it. Like, there's such a high density of them just after we get it.
I see.
But none in Act 2. It would be very useful if we had the potato sack in Act 2, but we don't. Sag.
Gotcha. I do want to take a moment here to plug something that's coming up. So we do have the Backpack Hero run coming up very soon. We have basically until the end of this run and just before that run starts to push that bid war and select the backpack that we'll be using for that run. So if you'd like to choose one of the available options for that bid war coming up, please get your donations in towards the Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center as soon as possible. We appreciate your support by watching the event and any form of monetary donation that you can provide. And if you can't provide anything right now, feel free to go visit our website at gorescuedogs.com and then go to the how can I help tab and check them out. Much appreciated and thank you. Back to you, Deesh.
I may choose a backpack. So now at this point we are during that cutscene there was basically this whole area is now possessed and under the control of the Darkest Faerie, purple clouds and all, even though you don't really get to see it. And someone appears to not be under her control, but she has captured them. So we are pushing these blocks to make a distraction for her. We are starting the pendulum in the clock tower, and we make it faster by grunting a lot. Don't watch this run with your eyes closed. So just kind of shift between holding forward and to the sides. And now to get out of this part, we're going to do another sprint clip. This one does require Mirka speed, unlike the one in the fence. There we go. That was pretty nice. And we are out of the clock tower and just kind of...
Was that audio bugged?
What's that?
Was that audio bugged? Because it kept repeating, like, the same, like, small portion of audio with
the bell. Yeah, no, that normally does that, even if you stay in bounds there. That is this game for you.
Beautiful.
So another little movement optimization that I've actually been doing a little bit of throughout the run. Right now I'm holding L2, which is the strafe button, which also locks your character to be facing forward to the camera. I already actually did it, probably didn't even see what happened there, but there's an enemy which spawns in the air that if it shoots you, it gives you slowness, which is truly infuriating if it actually hits you. So there we go, we're all done with that. But yeah, doing that little movement tech helps to keep it from spawning. So now, endless staircase, little optimization. When we get a certain way down the stairs, we turn around and then turn back forward. And yeah, and a particular bit about this L2 running, as it's commonly called, you can't keep moving while turning the camera unless you hold a specific slight angle diagonal. So there we go, there's that. And now we are into the meat and bones of the run. Act 3, this is basically just a heavy boss rush at this point. So we're going as fast.
So you're telling me everything before was an appetizer?
Yep. Oh. I just died. That's alright. That's why I saved there. I had a feeling something like that might happen.
It's nice to see a prepared runner.
So, jump onto this ledge to get low gravity, and then do a low gravity mega jump into this wall, which very obviously is an illusion. And now, at this point in the game, we're supposed to go to Brightvale, we're supposed to talk to the king, do some research, yada yada yada, figure out what the heck is going on. So there are invisible walls blocking us from going to everywhere else in the Brightvale half of the map. So do some out of bounds to bypass those. And now we're going towards Market Town. So a little bit of fun combat with moat strats. This is the only enemy in the run where we have dedicated moat strats for it. And there we go. And at this point, we are just running straight through. We don't got time for any of these guys. The guys on the outside won't let us in if we don't defeat them, so we have to, unfortunately. Strangely enough, where there's like actual story triggers and stuff, the game is very robust about that, but... Oh, also, nice. I have the audio glitch where now Roberta's jump noises are her wand. So, one more safety save. And I'm gonna do another upwards ledge fly now. This one in particular is very precise, but it's really cool when you get it. So I'm gonna line up a very particular way here. I think that is good. There we go. So what should happen here is I'm just going to spawn right in the middle of this tower here. And there we go. That's exactly what happened. That went perfectly. And just run up normally for a little bit. Try not to fall off out the side here, because we do void out. It's not a game over or anything, but it's just kind of pure time loss. So grab onto these vines. We have low gravity now, and fun fact about this game, none of the ceilings have any collision. So we come into this room here, and we do a mega jump, and we just clip through the floor into the next area. And now we have the Black Knight from Scooby-Doo, and Night of 100 Frights. So, not really any speed strats for this guy, just kind of fight him casually but fast. Use a power potion. Attack his armpits, the most obvious weak spot. Ow, he hit me. Oh, that's annoying. Alright, whatever. Normally, he doesn't do that order of attacks. So yeah, this is pure time loss here. Nothing real. No, there's no real danger. Just gotta let him attack. So after this, we're actually going to get some more powerful weapons for both of our characters. So from the money glitch, what we have to set up is not just for supplies at the beginning of the run. We also have Unfortunately, using an extra power potion here to defeat this guy. Didn't want to do that, but it's okay. We not only have to set up to get Tor his sword and shield, and obviously all the potions and stuff, we are also setting up to get these weapons, but also we have to have, from there, 1,000 Neopoints left over for later on, where we have to do something story-related to actually gain access to one of the bosses. Which, once again, is another story-related thing that is very robust and not breakable, as far as we know. So, after we did the cloak dash there, an interesting thing about cloak dashing is that it actually doesn't get rid of low gravity. It is a jump, effectively, but we keep the low gravity from it, so do a low gravity mega jump into here. And we have to see this cutscene for the purpose of... Actually, this is kind of in the same vein as the reason we need the 1,000 Neopoints later on. The majority of the bosses in this game, as we switch to Tor, are done on a basis of who's faster to kill them with. As far as we know, there aren't really any boss... well, there aren't any bosses... I say as far as we know. We do know there is only one boss, which either character can't damage. Either character can damage any boss. But for some reason, there's one boss later on that Tor can't do any damage to whatsoever. We have no idea why. It's very stupid. So we still have all the invisible walls surrounding this area. We have to jump out here, and now we're going to Bogshot to fight the Plague Serpent, aka Purple Cheerio, aka Purple Spaghettio, aka Danger Noodle with Bad Breath. He's got a lot of nicknames. So, staying out of bounds here. We're going to briefly dip into the load zone for Bogshot Village, and then turn around and leave. And now we are looking for all of that cluster of collision up there with Little Murky Water Plane. And we're gonna hit that, and that loads the rest of the swamp. And then we're gonna hit a water plane, a deep water plane where we actually drown in, and it spawns us in the middle of Bogshot Swamp. So now I'm coming over here. We could, in theory, just run straight towards the Plague Serpent fight, but this Ledgefly skips a cutscene, and not only that, that cutscene takes away our cloak glitches. So, yeah, we don't like that. So, quick safety save again. So this boss is stupid, very meticulous, very annoying. We have the power potion, we have the Market Town sword, we have a supernova mode. We have to specifically jump up onto this platform, let him attack us, block him, and then obliterate his face with the power of the sun. And it's over. So, fun fact, all of this water, and the biggest reason that I did a safety save there, actually triggers a game over. Not this water, but the water around the actual Plague Serpent fight itself. It triggers a game over, but once you beat it, they took that trigger away and basically just made it teleport you back up to the Plague Serpent arena. But there's actually some line of code in there when that happens, specifically when you jump in there after beating the Plague Serpent. That line of code says, "You suck." I am not joking. The devs in this game were hardcore trolls, and there are many more examples of this, actually. Not like code that says you suck, just generally examples of the devs being cheeky buggers. So, skipping the invisible walls once again. And we have, after this, so we're switching to Roberta again, we have yet another set of invisible walls to skip past. And can you believe it? We're going out of bounds again. So I'm going to do a ledge fly off this tiny little ledge here into this waterfall. There we go. So we're going towards Wereloop Woods at this point. Wereloop Woods is shockingly broken in terms of out of bounds. What's going to happen here... so I go out of bounds in Crossroads. We are traversing through about 6 different maps in the game. We go from Crossroads to Western Brightvale to right now loading in Wereloop Woods. I'm going to hit a piece of collision to keep this area loaded in. To then skipping through all 3 levels of the Wereloop Burrows. Straight to the Wereloop King fight. So, looking to get kind of into a specific area on the map here. There we go. So we want all this underground stuff loaded. And again, a lot of these out of bounds look really complicated, but they're actually conceptually very simple. There are a lot of really good cues you can use for any of this, so you can kind of figure it out on your own if need be. You can take other people's cues. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about these out of bounds in a lot of cases. So we come in here, do a quick mega jump into the Wereloop King fight. I just realized I actually was using the wrong moat for the Black Knight. So we kind of just 3-hit combo this guy for his first 2 phases. And then we're going to spam his last phase. Excuse me. With the normal Nova motes, because we want to actually preserve some of our Supernova mote for something else at the end of the run. So, easy as pie. Now we leave. And we're going to open this chest. So this lava mote is actually for another rare elemental mote strat on an enemy that we're going to fight actually during one of the boss fights. But we're going to fight the next boss with Tor. And once again, we barely spend any time actually inbounds during Wereloop Woods. Just gonna jump right out of bounds here. Am I in bounds? Ooh, I almost did it. There we go. So yeah, this is the actual entrance to Wereloop Burrows, and there are actually 3 layers of Wereloop Burrows, and we skipped through all of them. And of course, one last time, the invisible walls are still blocking us, not only from entering this area, but leaving it. So, I'm gonna run around, gonna leave. There is actually an enemy nearby in this area that is glitched out and causes a lot of visual glitching. But not visual, excuse me, auditory. But yeah, we don't get to trigger him, unfortunately. I know some of the Darkest Faerie runners are going to be Sag. We call him Crack Spider because we love him. And he sounds like he's on crack. So jump upward out into this area. And this is actually another really good example of where this out of bounds here, where everything looks really, really complicated, but is actually very, very easy to identify what you're looking for. So I'm just kind of following close to the inbounds trail. I'm gonna touch, see if I got it. Yep, touch a little piece of collision there. And then we have all this crap loaded in right here. But all I'm looking for is this water plane off to my left. I'm gonna run around the right side of it and then turn parallel to it until I upwarp onto some grass. Turn around. And that's it. Now I want to go in bounds here. So, in keeping with the theme of the marathon, saving the pets, we feed a little pet.
Pets.
This is actually a useful pet for the speed run. So it's a double whammy. We get to save the pet, and he gives us some help in return. So the pets are actually another neat function in this game. For the most part, during a speed run, you won't see much of them, but the Doggle Fox in particular, which is what this guy is, gives an attack boost. So that, in conjunction with the Potion of Power, is very, very nice. Much like Narfis here, we have to go to a specific area to load the boss fight in. That load is that cutscene. And then we're gonna let's fly out again. And do the same upwarp once again until we just about get into the fight area.
There's certainly been a lot of out of bounds throughout this run.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. So neat little movement tech here. Shout out to Chals for this. Jump around the side here. Ooh, that sucks. That's alright though. So if I had actually decided to let my fingers work, would have done a mega jump and basically been right into the fight right away. But yeah, I'm gonna just do the normal movement this time. So I think that movement there saves like 10 to 15 seconds, probably a little less than that even. But you know, trying to show off the cool stuff. So this is probably the toughest boss in the run. Even like casually, this guy's pretty annoying. He's got an epic theme. He's got an epic setting. The little intro is actually epic if we just decided to read the text. But yeah, basically the theme of this fight is to just get as close as we can to him as quickly as possible and hit him as quickly as we can. Ah, dang. If we're very, very quick, we can actually skip any of these cutscenes. So I'm looking to try to do a jump slash on him if I can. There we go, like right there, because they do a lot more damage. But usually the strat is to get as close to him as possible and then just kind of, like as he's rising up from the ground, and then kind of spin attack him. And there we go, he's dead. That was not too bad of a fight.
That seemed like a solid fight to me, but
Yeah.
I've only seen this game a handful of times at this point.
It was pretty good. That guy's very like up and down. He's like bipolar. His mood changes depending on how he feels. He felt like giving me a decent fight today, it seems. So
Challenge.
at this point, we were watching earlier, I'm actually going to do pretty much the same out of bounds sequence that I did to get into Meridel Castle after fighting Narfus. But I'm gonna go inbounds somewhere else. So hit this load. And once again, shout out to Chals for this routing. So there are a lot of cases. So I mentioned, you know, how the loading works. Collision triggers, location triggers, yada, yada, yada. Little neat trick there, attack close to the ground to get low gravity. There are a lot of places where there's just randomly a loading area for a completely different region. So we're in Meridel Plains right now, very far away from Shadowglen Woods, but the entrance to Shadowglen Woods is loaded. So if we touch it, then we load the rest of Shadowglen Woods, and then we touch this part, and we load in the boss arena. If we come up here, and there we go. So this is the Pumpkin Chunkin boss. And again, there's not really much we can do to speed this guy up. Just like Black Knight, he's just done casually but fast. This is the boss that we can't do any damage whatsoever as Tor. The reason why that is stupid is because this boss, if you know the game, actually holds a lot of emotional significance for Tor, being that this is the kind of village boogeyman creature, which earlier in the game actually captures his sister, and he has to fight it. So we really do not want him to be doing this attack. But pretty easy to avoid. So this is the moat strat. There we go. Tentacles appear. Charge attack them. Pray that he doesn't do this, but unfortunately prayers don't get answered. There we go. There we go. All done. Yeah, and at this point in the story, the boss has actually captured all his neighbors. So we have the entrance, or the exit rather, towards Tor's farm open now, but we're not going to go that way because it doesn't really help us. We're going to exit back by ledge flying through the blocked entrance. Water warp towards the beginning. And now, Mash, I'd like you to take a guess to where we're going right now in this moment.
To the heavens?
Just, based on how the rest of this run has gone, if you can think of a kind of place that we're going right now, where do you think it would be?
School.
Close enough.
Some dark castle.
We are going out of bounds. So this is a very annoying ledge right here. There we go. Get the angle into this wall. We want to re-equip the cloak here because we actually need it for a little story bit coming up. So this out of bounds actually can be particularly weird because for the first part of it, there's a lot of invisible walls, but again, as long as you know what to look for, all of this stuff spawning and despawning and all that, it's it's no worry. And now we have Meridel loaded. We're going to hit a water plane. It's going to put us right in front of the arena. And this right here coming up is why we need the 1,000 Neo points left over from earlier. We're going to talk to this guy and pay him 1,000 Neo points to give us the secret to getting into Meridel Castle. And then in here is the reason that we needed to go into the Traders Guild after the Black Knight fight, because we have to give them the Market Town treasure, which we get from that cutscene. And now we're in the Meridel underground sewers. So this whole area is pretty long casually. I don't want to say tedious because it is very cool, but of course we skip it all. So the first part is like the sewers, where we have to go through all the rising and lowering water and all that. And then we have the oubliette, but naturally, I'm not going to do any of that. So this is another place actually where emulator and console differ. This out of bounds would be done slightly different on console, but on emulator, I'm going to hit that trigger, jump in bounds right here, and then go back out of bounds again with a ledge fly right here. So fall down.
There's so much out of bounds in this run. It's crazy. It's like it's mind blowing how much out of bounds there is. If you're not in bounds for like more than a minute, you're out of bounds for majority of the run.
Yes, there is so much. So safety save here once again. And now we have the Undead Drake fight, which has the coolest music in the game, in my opinion. I'll just let it play out for a moment. So I was supposed to have equipped Supernova Mote to my shield there, silly sausage. But we're looking for him to do his either fire or ice beam attack, and then just spam attacking. He takes fixed damage no matter what attacks you do, whether you're Tor, whether you have the weakest sword in the game, whether you're Roberta, whether you have Fiora's Rod or the little Fairyland Twig. And I think his attacks are on a timer, so run away in between the first two cycles, collect those potions, just to have a little bit extra. And there we go. We can 2-cycle each of his first 2 phases. And then wait for him to do the attack again. Unfortunately, he's doing a tornado attack. So when he does this, I come into this corner here and just wait for him to chase me. Usually the tornado doesn't chase you over here, so just let him do the thing, and then break his body, so he's just ahead and we can just spam him at this point. And now once we're done, I'm going to switch to Tor, just briefly. I want to be a little bit careful here because this whole void below me is game over. So get low gravity there, attack to get our distance from the ledge here, and then do an upwards ledge fly out of bounds. The camera's going to go haywire. So we switch to Roberta to fix it. And then I'm looking for that black dot down there. It's disappeared already, but I have another cue to look at, and there we go. Undead Drake defeated. Now we're in Meridel Castle. And at this point, the run looks actually pretty much like any percent, more or less. So there was a strat that I wanted to do. with Power Potion, but unfortunately I can't. So let's fly into the staircase. We have to attack these sisters here as Roberta first before we can damage them down as Tor. Run into a trigger so that when we finish all of the stuff we need to do here, we just load right into the fight. We're not supposed to have actually come up to this area quite yet. But we can. And they're just kind of there. So, and their collision exists, so we just attack them. This is annoying. So these guys we want to have more water moat for, but unfortunately they were a little mean and attacked me. Man, he's blocking everything. And now these guys are dark aligned, so I'm going to attack them with a light moat. Just 3-hit combos. Normally, as Roberta, I would do a Supernova Moat charge attack, and then I would just automatically damage everything around me, basically. And then these guys could get attacked with the Wind Moat. And there we go. But now still got them anyway. And since we damaged the sisters down already, we get to kind of spam them. And they're dead.
What?
Yep.
Just deleted?
Yep, just deleted. Faster than Narfus. Faster than... almost as fast as Plague Serpent. So we're in Fairyland again, and we get one more speed clip into this area. Into the library, and we're doing the same endless staircase trick that we did earlier. So a fun little note about it, completely irrelevant to the speedrun, strictly speaking, but the more times we enter and exit the endless staircase there during a session, so if you're doing like a long grind of any % runs in a day, you'll see it. The skybox in the endless staircase there actually like separates from other textures weirdly, so it'll start to look super weird and like dark pitch black, and then like light blue, and then it's really interesting. But now just going through the final little steps to get into Act 4. So we get to Act 4. Normally, big ol' new part of the run where there's a whole new world to explore. But yeah, ain't nobody got time for that. One final safety save. So, ideally I would have either a water or a bubble moat here, but it doesn't really matter. Skip all of that, and all of this that we're not supposed to even be remotely close to having access to yet is already here. So just wait for the elevator to fall. And the final puzzle in this area is to attack a bunch of pedestals with their respectively colored moats. So that's why we want one of each kind of moat. One final mega jump. And then we just kind of have this area here. So, but if we attack the pedestal, it just spawns a moat on its own, which is very nice of the game. And there we go. So now go through the final 2 cutscenes, and we have the final boss here. So the time is not on defeating the final boss. Strat for the final boss is run towards her, have a supernova mote or nova mote on your shield so that you can block whatever element attack she throws at you. Spin attack, and then rinse repeat 3 times. Until you auto switch to Roberta, and then just spam her 3 times, and she's done. Yeah, very climactic final boss, I know. So, ready on time. So as soon as I go into this this next cutscene, and time.
Wow.
Overestimate, unfortunately.
Incredible.
I failed a little bit too many things there, but that was fun.
Well, that was a fantastically jam-packed run with a lot of out of bounds, a lot of cool things. Commentary was amazing. So, I mean, regardless of that, I think this was fantastic. Thank you for sharing this with us, Deesh.
Yeah, no problem. I'm super happy to show this off. I don't think this category has been shown off in any marathons before, but if you're interested in getting into this game, we actually do have full tutorial series on both Any Percent and this category, All Bosses. We have our own Discord server, which is actually very, very active these days. We just had a new console record for this category, All Bosses, by Clagnarok. You can find our Discord at speedrun.com/neopetstdf, all one word. Obviously, it's a URL. But yeah, that is it. I do want to give a huge shout out to Jaxler for being basically the king of this game for however many years, and also the founder of this category. He found many a thing, and to Charles for doing so many optimizations of this route. Half of the tricks that I actually did in this run were found by him. So yeah, they were supposed to both join me on commentary today, but unfortunately they both had health scares, not scares, but like little things come up. So yeah, super grateful to them for making this category, this game, what it is. And
I think you did fantastic. I'm sure it would have even been more spectacular with them, but I think you did a really amazing job with the commentary while doing all of the stuff that you were.
I appreciate it. Yeah, that was definitely a lot of fun. I probably should have adjusted my estimate a little higher, but that's okay. Well, since we're already behind schedule, I'll let you guys take over, get out of here.
Yep. So thank you again, everybody. Please go follow the runner Deesh on Twitch.
Probably will be
Deesh23.
Probably will be streaming later today. Actually, I do runs pretty much every day of this game these days.
So yeah, go check them out if you want to see more Neopets. Maybe I know they run other categories, much longer ones too. So go check them out. And yeah, with that, we'll be heading to the intermission and getting set up with the next run. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we